I am joined now by Missouri Republican Congressman and member of the House Transportation and Oversight Committees, Eric Burlison. Congressman, thank you so much for making the time. 67 souls were lost this week. We also saw the unrelated but equally tragic medevac crash in Philadelphia last night that was carrying a young girl, her mother, and 4 others. What can you tell us about the investigation into the American Airlines crash and anything that your committee has learned or steps that you plan on taking?
Yeah, I think that this is absolutely tragic, and it's really despicable for the Democratic Party to be laying this responsibility at the feet of Donald Trump, having just taken office. Look, we know that there have been reports going back into 2023 where they recognize that there's a shortage of talented individuals, and it's particularly in air traffic controllers. There was actually a Blaze study or a documentary that was released in November highlighting the failures and what it was predicting. Tragically, an event like this would possibly happen, and that was a little over 2 months ago. And a lot of that was pointed towards this, the shift in priority of the Biden administration on not just the FAA and not just transportation, but in every aspect of the federal government. They have failed the American people multiple times because they focused on other things other than doing their actual job. So instead of hiring competent, air traffic controllers, they're focused on DEI. Instead of hiring competent people that can keep the president safe, the Secret Service hired people based on DEI. And then when we had the FEMA director have to come before Congress and apologize because of all the scandal that was breaking out of FEMA, guess what? Their number one priority was DEI. So Trump has inherited a mess, and it's time that we clean it up.
Do you think that we could get the Congress to take action to sort of enshrine in law some of the things that President Trump has put in these executive orders? Because we do know from reports that thousands of qualified people who wanted to be air traffic controllers were turned away because they weren't the right skin color, or they weren't the right sex. They didn't have the right racial background to fit that diversity narrative that the Biden administration was driving. Is there something that your committee or that the Congress should be doing to ensure that we have a colorblind, merit-based society, particularly in these, very important agencies like the FAA that are responsible for the lives of millions of people every day?
Yes, absolutely. I know in the previous Congress, the House, repeatedly tried to defund and eliminate the offices of DEI across the board. Unfortunately, we had to negotiate with Biden and with Chuck Schumer, and we're unable to do so. But now we have we have a new president, we have a new president of the Senate, and so I think that we have a good chance to get these programs defunded and to put in place policies that make sure that something like this does not happen again.
I want to pivot before we go. I just have a few seconds here. I want to get your reaction to how House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Democrats should oppose the president's agenda. Watch this.
We are going to fight it legislatively. We are going to fight it in the courts. And we're going to fight it in the streets.
Fight them in the streets. Your reaction, Congressman?
Hakeem knows better than this. But look, all the rhetoric that they had in the previous election, they called Trump Hitler and every name in the book, and look how it inflamed people into violence. And Hakeem needs to reduce the temperature, stick to the policy debate.
All right, Congressman Eric Burlison, thank you so much for being with us.
Anytime.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.